going on, people? I am Swaver, and this is the Opinionated Facts Media Group podcast. I'm joined by my amazing team. Journey to be great, Coco Love and Illuminating Lenses. How y'all doing today?
Good.
Awesome. How are you?
Good, doing great, man.
Good. I'm good. I'm ready to get into this podcast episode today. Hopefully, our listeners are doing well. We appreciate you guys so much for always coming to support us and listen because without you guys, it would not be possible. Thank y'all so much for that. On this podcast, our mission is to build better relationships within our community through using the power of conversation. And today's conversation is going to be about Keke Palmer and Darius Jackson and some alleged events that took place, alluding to some physical abuse. So we're going to let Coco talk to us about that a little bit. So what you got, Coco?
So some things kind of hit the fan starting over the weekend. I want to say it was Friday, I believe. Just a quick recap or whatever, I guess, if you don't know. Keke Palmer and her child's father, she has a 8-month-old with Darius Jackson. And they hit the headlines a couple of months ago when Keke went to the Usher concert and Darius expressed how he had an issue with what she was wearing on, I believe it was on Twitter. And it was a whole situation. It was think pieces about how she disrespected him and so on and so forth, right? So fast forward to today, it was seeming that they maybe had gotten back together. They were together for her birthday that just passed, all of that. Well, she hit the headlines. I think it was on Friday, like I said, where first it was stated that she filed for full custody of their child that they share together. So like full custody, he had no visitation, nothing. That's what we saw. So everybody was like, what's going on? Why would she do that? Why is she not, giving the father any visitation or whatever? Then maybe like an hour or so later, it hit the headlines that she filed for a restraining order alleging basically domestic and emotional abuse. So in this documentation, she accuses him of physically and emotionally abusing her throughout their 2-year relationship and after their breakup. And she said that since the breakup, he's become, quote, even more unhinged, volatile, and dangerous to her and her child, saying that he was very insecure, very jealous, and she really became concerned. And I think what she's basically saying it made her go ahead and file was because he started to express jealousy about the time that she was spending with their child. It says, quote, Darius said very disturbing things to me that caused me to fear for our son's safety with him, including how he understood why male animals in the wild want to eat their children. And a man's love for his child is based on if he loves a woman. She said that given Darius's uncontrolled violent outbursts in the past, whenever he became jealous, I became seriously concerned that he would hurt our son, even if it was just to hurt me. I mean, this is an article from E! News, but she goes on to basically say how, like, describing vividly how he slammed her head into the wall, slammed her back into some stairs. And I believe it was some like photos, like some stills from their security footage of him allegedly being abusive towards her. I saw the pictures, but I really couldn't make out anything. But I don't know if there's video as well, but if it's so, I didn't see it. So this is a pretty long article. I mean, she goes on and she gets very detailed about it. But I just wanted to kind of bring this up because I wouldn't have expected that. Obviously, I don't put anything past anyone, but I found it particularly interesting about how he was talking about the child. If he's saying those things, then yeah, I would definitely say that she has a right to be concerned for her child's safety, especially. But it just brings a lot to the light because, here we are talking about this man and how he was acting with what she was wearing. And then here we are now. And like, I think it's interesting too that it's not a lot of men that seem to have had a lot to say since this news broke on Friday. So, but I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention because these are definitely signs of being abused, both physically and emotionally. And if you see things like this going on with you and your partner, this is something to pay attention to as well.
I agree. I mean, and back to your point about what happened previously with him, bringing it up on social media, it really was a sign because to me, I just feel like you don't have to put your business out there in social media if you have a problem with your significant other. And that's just me personally. I've just never understood that. Like, you have their number. Like, it's no need for you to do that. He could have easily just addressed it. It's not so much a big deal if you feel like it might be a little skimpy or anything like that. Fine, you have your opinion. You can easily just tell her that. Or y'all could talk that thing out back at the crib and everything. But for you to feel that strongly, like it bothers you that much that you needed to put it out there, I feel like when you do those things, it's kind of like a control thing to me. And two, it's like you don't feel as comfortable in what you're saying yourself. But I mean, that's just me.
I was going to say, well, I remember that incident. To me, I can't say that I looked at that and felt that he was controlling because, I mean, honestly, nowadays, everybody feel the need to put their business on social media. And I agree why, I have no idea, but People do it all day, every day. Go on there, tell their business, and then when somebody chimes in, they're quick to say, well, mind your business. I don't understand it. But I hate to hear all of this because there's a child involved. And so I guess what I'm thinking is prior to getting to this relationship, prior to the baby, were there signs that did she notice any signs or did she disregard it? Even with myself in the past, you notice some things, but dismiss it thinking they can get better, they can change. But I just want people to take away from it more than anything, as Maya Angelou once said, when people show you who they are, please believe them.
I'm going to come from the other side here. First of all, I'm going to drop some statistics on you guys. So this is coming from the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. On average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. During 1 year, this equates to more than 10 million women and men. Now, that's a very interesting point because I think a lot of times people don't really think about it like that. That's a lot of people in 1 year to be physically abused. And physical abuse is just the intentional act of causing bodily harm to somebody. That's what physical abuse is. The next thing I want to kind of talk about a little bit is the emotional abuse. Emotional abuse has a little bit of a longer definition, but I want to just give y'all some context behind what we're talking about. So emotional abuse is a pattern of behavior in which the perpetrator insults, humiliates, and generally instills fear in an individual in order to control them. And they do this because they want the individual's reality to become more distorted. The victim internalizes it as their own failings, but really it's all done by the predator, which would be the person that causes the emotional abuse to another individual. So with all that being said, now that we know what it is, I want to go on the other side here. I think some people take, we talked about respect and how you felt, how Darius felt disrespected, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people take disrespect more serious than others. And I think sometimes I'm not trying to say that what he's doing or what he has done, allegedly has done, is right or wrong. But let me ask you this question. If you talk to a gentleman that you know is a killer and you disrespect him, would you expect to be killed?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I
I expect to be killed if I sneeze wrong.
But I'm saying, I want y'all to think about what I just said, though. Now, if you date a person that you know is crazy, because everybody can say, oh, well, this stuff comes out of nowhere. No, it doesn't. And then I think in some cases you can make a person react in certain ways. Some people say, well, you can't control another person. In some ways you can. I mean, how many times have we seen where you've done stuff that you never thought you'd do because you were, quote, in love?
Yeah.
Think about it. So in a sense, I'm not saying that should lead to somebody saying, well, I'm going to go ahead and put these hands to you because you wore a tight dress, or I'm going to go ahead and put these hands to you because you was, talking to another girl or something like that. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that if you really take the time to think about it, we've all in some kind of way either been emotionally or physically abused, or we have done that to someone else. Now, I'm not saying this to say we should take him off the hook, but I just want y'all to think about it from that standpoint. What if he had already told her that he didn't want her to wear that and he felt disrespected, like she didn't care, and then he responded in that way? It hasn't been. Go ahead. What you say?
No. Go ahead.
And how do we know it wasn't something that she did? And I'm not saying to say that she should have gotten hit. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying allegedly. But how do we know she hasn't done some things that were physically abusive to him, or it wasn't emotionally abusive to him?
I mean, all that is fair. We don't know, and I mean, I do get what you're saying. Nobody's excusing allegedly if anything like that did happen. At the same time, it is like what you said. You know how you see a lot of people, for example, like some women will be like, "Oh, my boyfriend crazy. If I do this, he'll knock me upside my head," or stuff like that, or whatever. But they really don't be joking for real. They're wrong. Yes, the guy is still wrong for doing it, but at the same time, it's kind of one of those things where you probably need to leave. Again, it's not her fault, if this happened and everything like that. At the end of the day, you're a grown man. Keep your hands to yourself. When people tell you that they're crazy, believe them.
Well, hold on. I mean, you might be crazy too, because in order for you to be with the person that's like that, it's some part about you that's probably crazy too.
Well, I mean, a lot of times it might not be that. A lot of times, because even if somebody is crazy, like I feel like we all have some good and bad in us. So a lot of times you see in the good parts and you see what the good that people can be if they just work on this, and that. So a lot of times you're trying to stick with them for whatever reason. So I get what you're saying, but it's not so much that they might be crazy. It's just you're thinking that you're the solution to bring out more of the good than the bad. But reality is you can't control that.
Now, that's true. You're basically saying that you can only be responsible for what you do, and then you'll stick around with the person trying to get them to see the brighter side of things. And then, it's up to them to see that brighter side.
Yeah, it's basically up to them to change themselves. You can't change anybody. It's just like if you're in a relationship or whatever, and the person you with, they might have dogged you out, and then you see them with the next person, and they might treat them like a king or queen or whatever. Like, you just can't control that, and you could have done nothing wrong. It's just all about how that person is feeling. But you can control how you react when they react.
Let me ask you this question. If he was to get with another woman and that never happened again, would that be something that where he had a lesson learned? Or is it that that woman just doesn't, quote, disrespect him in that way?
I don't know, because
What?
like I said, I mean, like it's been said, as far as feeling disrespected, I feel like there's no excuse for him putting his hands on her unless she put her hands on him.
For sure.
And like you said, we
Yeah.
don't know if that's the case. So that could be the case. We don't know. But that's the only reason. I don't care how disrespected you feel. You shouldn't put your hands on people. And I understand sometimes we get upset. I've done it before as well. You know what I'm saying? We get upset and your emotions get the best of you or whatever. So, you know, I'm not pretending to, to not have
like
ever done that or whatever.
Okay.
How come you put hands on somebody?
Okay.
Oh boy,
It's not about me. It's not about me. Okay.
Y'all on the news.
What I'm saying is I understand. And I'm saying that we have to grow and we have to be better. We have to learn how to, you know what I'm saying, process our emotions though.
But see,
And especially when
Survive and
especially when it
Coco
comes especially when it comes to like our loved ones or whatever. But like I said, I mean, so unless like she came up at him, you know what I'm saying, and you know, went upside his head, threw some grits on him, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, then there was no excuse for that.
And really with the disrespect, and not to cut you off, but really with the disrespect thing, that is true. Because think about it like this: how many times our boss have disrespected us?
I'm telling
We
you.
ain't never slapped the shit out of them.
No, you might
Well,
at best, you know what I'm saying, you might tell them something or whatever, say a few words,
Yeah.
but I have felt like people have talked to me crazy several times in the work environment alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, and about the most that I'll do is be like, all right, bet. And then, you know, I might walk off these people's job or whatever, but I've never put my hands on them. So, but again, it's a learning experience or whatever for us all. For sure.
Workers are the customers.
You know what?
we're gonna leave that in the past.
We're gonna leave it alone.
But no, but listen, y'all. All I'm saying is that, like, at the end of the day, no man or woman should be hitting either person, regardless of the situation is. But I did want to bring in the point that some people will egg shit on. Just like, for example, how many times have y'all seen where you got a woman and a man together, and a woman or a man, they may know what triggers the other person, and so they'll do something intentional to trigger that person, knowing that that's what they have a problem with, and then they say, well, look what they're doing to me. But you knew what you was doing the whole time. Like, that happens.
That's true.
I think
is very true.
You know, we have to really be careful when we try to say, oh, well, that's the victim. I think I was talking to Coco just the other day, like the lady that got hit in the head with the brick, man. I just got to be honest. I don't think she should have got hit in the head with the brick. But then she started talking about, oh, you know, people supposed to protect her and blah, blah,
Did
blah.
she really get hit with a brick though?
I don't know.
Because I've heard.
By the look of her head, she got hit with something.
He lightly, lightly grazed.
No, look, but I'm saying though, here's what I'm trying to say. Even with the same thing with Keke Palmer, if you went out there and you had a dress on or something that was barely covering your ass, and then a man walks up and grabs your ass, by no means am I saying because you wear a dress with your cheeks out that somebody should go get them handful. I am not saying that. But the world that we live in, that's what goes on sometimes. And so if you wear that and you know that that's the risk that you take, and if the man grab a handful of your ass and then you go turn around and say, yo, you whatever, he takes a brick and he puts some masonry towards your dome, then you can't say, oh, somebody needs to come out of the woodwork or wherever and just fight this man off of me. Because, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that's right.
Well,
that's a wild transition, though.
I don't.
You get your ass grabbed and get a brick upside your head. That's
really wild. That's really that's fucked up. Actually, damn. I'm sorry.
Really
I just didn't want my ass grabbed. I don't think that's. I don't feel like that's. Because I
don't think that's a justified response.
Listen. I'm not talking about the brick to the dome. I'm saying for you to summon someone else to say they should come and get a brick to their dome because you decided to wear whatever it was that you wore, something happened in the way in which you didn't want it to happen. That's not somebody else's responsibility to take up for. I do think that she was disrespecting that man, Keke in this case, by going up in there wearing what she was wearing. That's what I believe. I think once you get to a certain point, just do things better. That's what I believe. Also, another thing that we have to look at too is a lot of these people are in relationships, but they're still functioning as single people. That's a very important thing. You got some men that are in relationships and still acting single, and they look at their girl as just a placeholder. So some men don't care what they women do, and you got other men that are possessive, and then you got other men that just care. So you just have to really look at all these different things, and the women, on the other side, vice versa too.
That actually is true, because a lot of times we always talk about things being equal. And back to the dress and everything, you might not feel the way the dress looked or whatever that is disrespectful, but it's like this. Just flip it for a minute. If your dude had wore something that you just, for whatever reason, he might not feel like it was disrespectful or something like that. But what if he wore something that? Yeah. Like what if you wore that and you've expressed at home that, hey, you don't really like that? Again, I'm not saying that put it all out on social media and everything like that. Now, it's a slippery slope because it can kind of get kind of like a control thing where it's like, so you can't wear anything. But
can I impart something right there though? If you get married to somebody, or you call yourself being committed to somebody, it's just certain shit you just shouldn't do. That's in my opinion. I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, if you want to do what you was doing when you were single, then why are you in a relationship placeholding somebody else? Let them go get with somebody that want to work with them and be with them and respect. If you don't, get out the way. Because you could be destroying somebody that really wants something serious and you want to play games. So you go out there, you know what I'm saying? Go be a streetwalker if this is what you want to do. But go ahead.
But that's true. But this is what I'm saying. You got to kind of be careful with it too. How it can be kind of controlling, because if this person is already wearing this stuff when you met them and you had no problem with it then, and y'all been in a relationship, they wearing the same thing, should have said something before the relationship got serious, because you can't then turn around and then say something about it then because that's what becomes kind of controlling. You got some people that are so old-fashioned, might not want a woman to wear a dress that comes right to the knee or something like that. They might feel like that's, you know what I'm saying? Like they might feel like that's disrespectful, which is not. So you really need to have those boundaries and have those understanding of everything like that, when the relationship is new and everything like that. You can't just switch up all of a sudden, because that's when it becomes kind of a controlling thing. So like I say, it's a slippery slope between just wanting respect and trying to be controlling when it comes to fabric.
I mean, that is true, man. But I think the last piece that I'm going to say is this right here. I think when it comes to women and men, if you think about it like this, and this is just from a man's standpoint, and I'll switch over to the female. If you were a man and you're supposed to put your life, I mean, literally, if you're supposed to put your life on the line for the woman that you love, and you ask her, baby, please don't go out here with something little on or something that's too revealing, because I'm going to have to defend you if something happens.
Yeah.
Why would you do that to him? So if you just sit down and think about it, it's not about control. It's about respect. If you single and you want to take a brick to the dome like old girl did, then by all means. But you know what? No man was there to protect her. But if you got a man and he's trying to protect you and he asks you not to wear something and you go wear it anyway and then something happens to you, why do you want
Don't make his job difficult?
Don't make it his job, because you want to do what you want to do. So that's on you. Flip side, if you're a female and you do not want nobody telling you what to do, you don't want to follow nobody's leadership, you don't care about what a man got to say, then stay by yourself. I mean, it's just that simple. Like it's not that hard.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I can agree with that. Just, being in a relationship, there is some compromise. So if that's what you enjoy doing, being half naked, you just got to understand that a respectable man, a man that's not out in the streets, a guy that doesn't move like that, probably would prefer you have clothes on. If that's not the thing you want, then that's probably, you may need to stick with the street dudes or be single. So.
Right. And then when you get ran through, don't try to go find a husband then. Like after you had everybody had you, now you want to, all right, I'll put the clothes back on now. It's just crazy, man. But it's just about respect for each other. We got all the way over here, but the main point is respect each other. Nobody should be hitting nobody. Nobody should be talking to nobody crazy. We should be in situations where we can have good adult conversation with each other without tearing each other down and making somebody feel less than what they are. And we damn sure should be going to swiping each other and all that stuff like that. But to our audience, man, I want to know, what would y'all do in this situation? Do y'all think Darius really did it? Do y'all think that it was a reason why he did it? Is he justified? Maybe if we find something out about it that we don't know right now. What is Keke doing? You know what I'm saying? We don't know. But I guess we're going to find out as time goes on. But we want to thank y'all so much for listening. I am Swaver, joined by Jordan to be great, Coco Love, and Illuminating Lenses. This is the Opinionated Facts Media Group podcast. Until next time,